Andy Gibson. I'm head gardener at Mind Apples, because if you run your own organisation, you get to make up your own stupid job title. And I guess what we've been doing at Mind Apples for many years now is teaching people how their minds work and how to use them effectively, and raising awareness for the importance of good mental health. We tend often to take our minds for granted, and so part of the work we do at Mind Apples is about reminding people that this is obviously a complex thing that we've got in the, whether that's looking after your brain in terms of quite physical ways, or thinking about your thought processes, your emotional state. Actually taking care of your mind comprises all of it. For me, it's not just about feeling good or comfortable or calm, although stress management and managing your emotions is part of it. It's also about whether you've drunk enough water, whether you've got energy, whether you're in a good physical state, and it can be about more cognitive things as well, about how you come up with good ideas and influence people well, communicate clearly. There's a whole range of things that we're using our minds for, and we can get better at that. We try not to tell people what to do in Mind Apples, because the core of our campaign is to ask people what's the 5 a day for your mind. So we're really interested in people reflecting on what their mind needs and making time for the things that they enjoy, because the literature is pretty clear that we get much more benefit from things when we've chosen them ourselves and when we enjoy them. Because actually a lot of the time we don't give ourselves permission to do that basic maintenance. We see it as time wasting. Having said that, there are some obvious basics that we can forget particularly when we're busy. Sleep is an obvious one that we often end up talking about. The effect of being deprived of sleep is a bit like being drunk, so actually it's a really important way to stay sharp. Drinking water, very important, and also diet, nutrition generally, what we put into our bodies makes a big difference. And then there's things like natural light, which wakes us up. There's exercise that gets your system going. And then there's the more complex things like the state of other people around you really affects your mind. So it's not just about looking after yourself, it's about where you are in your society, in your work, and how people are feeling when they're sat next to you at their desk, looking nervous and stressed, and making you nervous and stressed too. A great deal of the work that we do is with companies, a lot of the time major multinationals and city firms, where we are brought in really to help, not just to improve health and well-being, but performance as well, to help people achieve more with less, perform well under pressure, collaborate more effectively, be more creative. So quite a lot of our work has been focused in a business context, and the book that I've recently produced that Pearson have published is A Mind for Business, and it's deliberately intended to be the basics that you need to know about your mind to use it effectively in work. Where it blurs, though, is that essentially our starting point for all this is that the key unit of production is the human being, and so really it's a book about how people work, and we're championing the human side of business, because actually a lot of the time we try to treat ourselves in quite a mechanistic way, and company structures will often be designed in a way that stops us from looking after our minds, from taking breaks, from showing up in the best possible state we can. And so we found that by helping people to get a grip on their own minds, to be able to stay motivated, reduce stress, maintain their well-being, and show up for work in the best possible state, then that's good for business as well. And then we work with companies often to do, I guess, a sort of process of culture change to help them clear out of the way any obstacles that are getting in the way of people being at their best and creating conditions for minds to thrive. But the starting point is individuals taking responsibility. We certainly find that management theory is catching up. The days of just monitoring productivity by checking other people are sat at their desks is hopefully a thing relatively of the past. I guess what we do find still, though, is that as pressure levels increase, as there's more and more drive to cut costs, to achieve more in the market with fewer resources, that we're not quite sure where the cut-off point is, or if we're actually being counterproductive by the pressure we're putting ourselves under. So there are good studies that suggest that working much longer hours actually isn't good for productivity. You don't become twice as effective if you work twice as long. You become just about as effective, but you're really tired. The one that I think is really important, a sobering lesson for businesses, is about the effect of stress on decision making, where if you've got a workforce that are very stressed, that changes people's appetite for risk and stops them from assessing situations in a rational way. And so people will get a lot done, but they may make mistakes, or even in some cases do things that puts the business in jeopardy. So if you want to manage your risk profile, you need to get your stress levels under control and figure out how to help people feel calm and capable every day. We end up talking a lot about food in Mind Apples because it's quite a helpful way for people to make sense of their decisions. So trying to choose between an apple or a cake or a nice hearty stew or some kelp noodles, and these are actually a lot of the time the choices we're faced with every day. There's all these difficult choices about whether I should have something healthy and nutritious for lunch, or whether that won't fill me up enough, whether I should go a new route to work because I'm not sure about what's going on with the district line today. These things are what really preoccupy our minds, and then right at the end of the day we decide who to hire or who to marry, or whether we should buy that flat or the other one, usually when we're quite tired or possibly drunk.